If you've ever stood in the river thinking, what fly should I even tie on right now? This might be the most important deep dive we've ever done. Because there's one bug that hatches 12 months a year, makes up a massive chunk of a trout's diet, and a lot of anglers completely overlook it. Today we're breaking down midges, the smallest but mightiest insect in fly fishing. If you understand midges, you'll catch more fish, period. And just a quick heads up, this was recorded live inside of our school group during one of our monthly deep dive trainings. If you want to get in on the next one live, ask questions in real time, and be part of a community full of awesome anglers, scan the QR code on screen or hit the link in the video description below. All right, let's jump into this month's Midge deep dive. Welcome to our monthly deep dive.
Where it's March, right?
This is March.
For March.
We are talking all about midges. So characteristics, life cycle, flies, rigs, anything you want to know about midges, we're probably going to cover it today. And if we don't, that's your fault because you're here live and you can ask questions.
Exactly.
So let's pull up our slides.
Knowledge, just ready to dump it into your craniums.
Get ready. So we do have Aiden and Devin here with us. They are monitoring the chat first off to make sure there's no craziness happening in there.
Like what?
I don't know. There's
You looked at me when you said that. There's no crazy. Like, what am I gonna do on the chat, Alex? I'm presenting.
You egg people on, man.
I don't egg anybody on except my mother-in-law, and I hope she's not listening.
She might be.
She probably is. Dadgummit.
So Aiden and Devin are here. They're going to be monitoring the chat if we're talking about something and somebody has a good question that was requested by a bunch of people after our last tying night. And so we do listen to feedback. We have Aiden here. He is on his laptop. He is ready. He is keeping his eye on the chat.
And Aiden, for those who don't know, he's what's your official title?
Warehouse manager.
I was going to say warehouse wizard, but
yeah,
I guess we can say manager too.
Pit crew. I like that.
I do. Yeah. Bro keeps your stuff out of the warehouse and into your hands. That's what Aiden does. He's dang good at it. So we appreciate having him here.
I like the pit crew.
Pit
boss? No. What's the pit crew leader? What was it in F1, Devin? Pit chief?
Dude, they're getting shirts. 100% we're doing that.
I love that. All right. So midges. First question. Oh, for how to participate, get in the chat. Don't spend your whole time in the chat at Kevin Knack.
Wow.
Crew chief. That's the one. All right. How many of you actually feel confident fishing small flies? Let us know in the chat. Like 20 or smaller.
I mean, 20 is big. Let's be real here.
20s, I would say 20 is the lower or the upper end of small. What did I say? Upper end?
Yeah.
The lower end. Yeah. Upper end of small.
I'm pulling up my chat here so I can see what folks are.
Only way I go, Colorado. There you go, Edward. No way, not so much. 50-50. If I can tie it on, then yeah. I don't have anything smaller than 20.
No small flies. We have big fish. Tony, hate to break it to you, man. I caught 20. I'm not exaggerating. Caught 21-inch brown trout and a size 26 parachute midge. So those big fish, they will eat small flies. And Alex caught a 25-inch rainbow on a size 18.
Yeah.
Demon midge.
Yeah.
And he caught
my biggest rainbow ever.
And you cut a 24-inch brown on, how big was that Waltz worm?
That was a size 14. That was pretty big.
That's not really for a 2-foot brown trout.
Right. I mean, you would expect it to eat a streamer.
Dude, so speaking of that, I know we're talking about midges, but I got to tell the story. Really, this is friggin' awesome. I was fishing last week with my buddy Gene, and we were floating the river. It's crystal freaking clear. And we were talking about how the fish really weren't in the deep stuff. We were in a deep, slow part. Yeah. They were all in the riffles that day. And as soon as we say, oh, I don't think there's really any fish here, and I pull up and Gene starts rowing, we see this fish move out from under the boat. It was a big old brown, like yay big, Thing had a trout half its size T-boned in its mouth.
That's so sick.
It was so cool. So yeah, the big fish do eat other fish too, but brown trout will eat those smaller ones. Completely off topic, but it was just really cool.
Where was the camera?
Bro, it was in the waterproof bag under the back seat in the boat because
That's tough.
Yeah, because that's where you want it. Because we weren't. I
tough.
needed to get the shot of the Frenchie in the fish's mouth for you, or no, the parachute Adams.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting until we caught one because we hadn't caught one yet. So camera wouldn't. I apologize, folks, but it was freaking cool. All right, sorry. We'll get back to
one other question. My clicker's not working. There we go. What's the smallest fly you've ever caught a fish on? Smallest fly you've ever caught a fish on?
20, 22.
22. Let's see who wins. I mean, Spencer already said 26, 24, 20, 20. 26 trico. Nice, Jack.
So me and Jack are tied.
Dude, I hate tricos. That's 24, a number of fish. 16, 18. Yeah, Jack, you ate trico. Thank you, Jack. Tricos suck.
Tricos don't suck. Tricos are wonderful.
I just have a bad relationship with them.
You do.
All
right.
right.
Whoop your butt.
That's awesome. So we've had some success with small flies. Some of us fish small flies. Some of us don't. Maybe you're here because you want to start fishing smaller flies because they are effective. So we're going to talk about one of the 4 main aquatic insects.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, slides. Does this not work if we're on? Got to be full screen or what?
I just don't think it's working.
All right, I'm just going to tell you next slide.
We got technology.
All right, so aquatic insects 101. We've got our mayflies, our stoneflies, our caddis, and tonight we're talking about midges, the smallest of them all. So, Spencer, how would you describe mayflies?
Mayflies? They're kind of elegant. They're kind of graceful. They're the Spencer Durant of flies. You see them, it epitomizes grace and virtue and learning.
All right. We're going to call those. Come on. Freaking technology.
Sexy.
Sexy. So mayflies, they're the sexy. They're the elegant bugs. They're the ones that when you dream about fly fishing, these are the ones that you dream about. Stoneflies, those guys are obvious. Caddis, they're exciting. Well, they're obvious because they're big. You see them, they're crawling around. Caddis, they're exciting because most of the rises you see for caddis, the fish are just leaping out of the water. They're going crazy. And then midges, they're dependable. And that's why we love midges.
They're there all the time. They're like, what's his face in oh crap. I was going to make great John Hughes reference. My mind just completely blanked on me. I'm so sorry.
I don't even know who that is.
What? Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Okay.
Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Like I recognize
Home Alone.
I see him now in my head, but I didn't know his name.
All right.
Okay.
That got me really upset.
Midges, why do they matter? Why are they dependable? And it's because they're the most prevalent aquatic insect in nearly every river. They hatch year round. They can make up 50% of a trout's diet in some rivers. And they're the only consistent winter hatch.
The only one. So you'll get them all winter long. We didn't really get much midge fishing this winter. I didn't fish as much this winter though, because between a little bit of skiing and then breaking my toe, I kind of had to stay on the sidelines for a little bit this winter.
Rough stuff. I didn't fish much this winter because I don't like winter fishing.
Yeah. So on winters that I do get out, they are pretty consistent. They are pretty good. You can get into some really good fishing with midges in the middle of winter. They will complete that full life cycle. They'll hatch completely. So you will get dry fly fishing in the winter with midges, which I am not one to ever turn down a dry fly opportunity. So even when I probably should turn the dry fly opportunity down, I don't.
I like midges are fun. Yeah. Dry fly fishing with midges during the winter.
And I've been tying a lot more midge something and others lately. Yeah. And I've really been enjoying it. So it's been a good time.
Try or die, baby. That's right,
Mhm.
Kevin. All right. So, what are we actually trying to match when it comes to midges? And so, we're going to run through their characteristics and then we'll go through their life cycles. So, first, let's talk about larva. Run us through the larva, Spencer.
So larvae, they are the baby that hatches out of the egg.
Yeah.
They come into existence bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to grab the world by the tail and rope it, put it in their pocket, and do whatever it is midges do. They're ready for that.
Super duper small.
Yes, and that's the thing. Most folks assume we talk about small flies. We open the show talking about small flies. Everybody assume, oh, it's just a midge if you see a small fly. It's not always necessarily true, and there are some big varieties of midges that hatch, but most of the midges in rivers are small. You get bigger midges in lakes.
Also
Typically.
known as chironomids.
No, it's completely different, Alex. They're not anywhere near the same. No, they are a little bit.
So for you lake anglers, if you hear the word chironomid, just imagine midges in a lake, and that they're the same thing.
Exactly.
They came up with another term for it. I don't know why. If there's an entomologist in here that wants to let us know why.
Dude, if there's an entomologist in here, the first thing we're going to do is yell at me for using bug and insect interchangeably, because apparently you're not supposed to use those for that. So is what I've been told. But anyways, the larvae, they look like dinky little worms. And that's why our zebra midge, demon midge, they kind of imitate that, because we're imitating that larval stage. It's the very first stage of the midge's life. Once it has popped out of the egg and it's ready to be part of the aquatic world.
Yeah. And what I think is cool about some midge larvae is they can be bright red.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at our demon midge, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's bright red, and it's not just because it's an attractor, because it looks cool. It's because some midge larvae can be red, but a lot of them are tan, olive, darker colors. Sizes, these are the really small ones. In fact, most of the larva actually burrows in the silt, and it's like the only time it'll be found in the river is like it gets picked up by the current when it's on the like in the silt.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I don't even know if fish eat these.
Oh, they definitely do.
They do, but would you say they like? It's not like they put their noses down in the dirt.
No, but they get dislodged from stuff.
That's
so
true.
they're cruising around down there at the bottom. So the larvae there. I mean, we're talking probably 26-ish, 28 down to about 20s, just depending on the flavor of midge that you got.
And then pupa, midge pupa. So these are the guys that when the larvae start to grow up and they want to move out of mom and dad's basement and take on the world.
They're ready to go into the world. They don't know about taxes yet, though, so they've still got some optimism. They ain't got that first paycheck where FICA just completely takes them out behind the woodshed, but they're about to. They're about to see what the world's really about.
Yeah. Poor little fellas.
All right.
So they're like half in, half out. They're making their way to the surface to hatch into an adult. So their shuck is still attached. Their wings are emerging, and then they get trapped in that surface film.
Well, not quite, because we got to go to the emerger stage first.
Well, the pupa is the emerger stage.
So you're going to say there's only three. I always do 4 when I talk about my mid. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I like to separate them out to say that because the pupa and the emerger, there will be some slight differences. You think about...
Well, I've been talking to entomologists.
Oh, you have you?
Emergers aren't technically a stage.
Emergers may not technically be a stage, but they are a style of fly we use to imitate the emerger or the pupa or whatever the freak they are. Okay, once they get close to the top. Now, see, this is why people hate fly anglers, okay? Because we're sitting here just absolutely nothing important is happening other than, we're arguing over, well, actually, it's not in the pupa, it's an emerger. I bring this up just to clarify any misconceptions about. You have your emerger midge patterns. They got the little wings.
I mean, we're going to get into life cycle here in a second.
I know, but it's just, you know what? Fine. I will keep my thoughts to myself.
Wonderful. All right, let's move along. So now let's talk about the adults. Would you like to talk about that?
No,
Spencer?
I wouldn't. I was
All
told
right.
to keep my thoughts to myself.
Perfect. Wonderful. So adults are the pupas that hatch. They completely skip the
If it's an
emerger
adult,
stage.
how can it be a pupa?
I'm saying it's a pupa that just hatched into an adult.
No, it's not. It's just a midge adult.
The pupa hatched. Now it's an adult. Is that all right? So they're floating on the surface. They've got side tucked wings. You'll find them on the surface floating, buzzing. You might find clusters of them floating on the surface. They like to group together. You might find them on rocks. A lot of times they'll start just crawling around on the rocks or vegetation near the banks. And fish are going to eat these. So now we'll get into the life cycle of a midge, which we have our larvae who are down in the silt. They might be floating in the current because they got picked up. And then our pupa, what happens, Spencer?
I don't know. Apparently, I don't know anything anymore.
No, look at the one right at the top. What is that one doing?
So it is entering the third life cycle stage, the emerger. That's what's happening to it. Okay. Yes, all midges lack tails, Tom. Sorry, I just looked down. I'm trying to be way better about this, but that's a really good one. Tom Plant asked in the chat, do all midges lack tails?
Yep.
Yes. It is one. My hat's all crooked. Look at that. You got me all flustered up, Alex. All midges are definitely going to lack tails, which is interesting because you will see some, like the WD-40, for example. It's a midge and mayfly merger. Kind of pulls double duty, but it's got a tail. Why does it have a tail?
The shuck.
Could be the shuck. I also think just doesn't really matter at that point, but the adult midges definitely will not have a tail at that point. So, yeah. But yes, once the pupa does have those two stages, we can call it a separate one or not. All kidding aside, what I was trying to get at was I know it can be confusing when we talk about there's pupas and then there's emergers and how they are, I see them as pretty distinct because it's just easier to keep that in my head, especially when I'm looking at pupa patterns versus emerger patterns, because not every pupa pattern is going to have a wing case on it. Like your zebra midge doesn't have a wing case on it, right?
It gets confusing because and even in the emerger game, it's like you have emergers that have beads on them, but then you have ones that don't.
Yep. And you might have an emerger with a trailing shuck and emerger without a trailing shuck.
And really it just comes down to where you're fishing it in the water column.
And what you're trying to represent, right? Because as every aquatic insect except mayflies, as they all go through this life cycle, they're going up through the water column. They get into that surface film, and then they're getting out of their nymphal shuck. So they're all going to have a trailing shuck at some point. So you can tie a trailing shuck caddis.
Devin, can you pull up the slide? See what the midge is coming out of? That's what we're talking about when we say trailing shuck.
So you can have that on the caddis, mayflies, midges, and you can tie trailing shuck style patterns. They can be very effective. Are they more effective than another type of emerger pattern? I don't really know. I don't know if fish get so keyed in on only eating the trailing shuck midge. I think there's a nice thing that comes from being able to fish a little bit bigger fly with those trailing shucks, because if you see how much bigger that trailing shuck fly looks than the pupa, right?
Yeah.
So if all the bugs on the water are like a 20, you could do a midge emerger with a trailing shuck and like an 18, because you need to represent more of that fly because it has the shuck plus the rest of the midge body. And how many times am I going to say shuck and not get in trouble? I'm real proud of myself. But anyway, so that's just, hopefully that differentiates. Hopefully I didn't confuse too many people trying to get a laugh out of us on a Tuesday night or whatever. But it is, you will see some midge pupa patterns. In fact, there's one that I used to tie that's literally just thread, wire, and then Sharpie to color the head. That was it. No wing case, nothing else. So you will see some like that, but then yes, they do enter that emerger stage.
Jack, that's a good question. Are mosquitoes and midges the same thing? They are actually not.
No.
Yeah, mosquitoes have the little blood sucker on them.
So mosquitoes were, that's, the world was a great place once. Okay. We used to make our drinks with real sugar. Okay. Coca-Cola had other stuff in it. Steak used to only be cooked medium rare. They wouldn't even try to do it medium or medium well, or let alone well done. We used to be a proper world, a proper globe. And as we've let things creep in like that, as we've let, taxes and well done steak and high fructose corn syrup into our lives, mosquitoes are one of many pieces of retribution. We've got to pay for those big mistakes. So you want to get rid of mosquitoes? Bring all that good stuff back. You start making your bread with 4 or 5 ingredients instead of 15. Okay, I'm not telling you to go do sourdough. Don't be like that, because those people are crazy and weird. You don't want to be that. But make your own dadgum bread. That's how you get rid of mosquitoes. You got my vote. Thank you. Appreciate it. Durant Stoltz 2028. You fine with being number 2 on the ticket, Alex?
I'll be the Secretary of Agriculture.
Anyways, where were we? What was that?
I don't know. Mosquitoes versus midges, they're not the same thing.
No, they look exactly the same, but midges are nice, okay? They weren't sent as a punishment for our bad behavior.
Yeah, midges don't bite you.
No, they don't.
Mosquitoes do.
They'll crawl on you. Midges will crawl on you. They'll look at you. They'll get like all cute and midgy on you and whatnot. But mosquitoes, they just come at you. They're like, how can I ruin your day?
And then something else to talk about is the adults. They'll hatch, right? And then I think I already mentioned this, but they'll actually cluster on top of the water a lot of times, or on rocks. You'll actually see just these big piles of midges where they're just crawling on top of each other. We have some pretty cool shots of those.
We do.
I don't know how to show them on here, but if you've seen any of our videos, there's a really cool shot of all these midges crawling all over each other. But
it's kind of like how puppies always crawl over each other.
I don't have a dog.
So you've never been there when puppies were born?
No.
What? Like right after
I actually couldn't have a dog as a kid. My mom refused to get us a dog, and then one day I showed up in 8th grade, and she had this puppy, and she was playing with it on the yard, and me and Devin and Berkeley, we came over, and she's like, "This is your puppy. We bought it for you," and I didn't believe her.
Yeah.
That's how anti-dog we were.
Well, hey, at least she gave it a shot.
Yeah.
My mom, no, she nixed it so hard.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want you to be happy.
Yeah. But then my mom became the biggest dog fan ever, and she loved that dog. So
I love it.
Pretty funny. Anyways, midges. What is next? Oh, pop quiz. We got a pop quiz for you.
Oh, no.
Not for you.
I'm getting flashbacks.
This is for them. So we got to match these up. If it's winter and there's no obvious bugs out, what do you think is the most prominent stage of midges? Most likely. Larva. Yep. Nice. You guys are good. Oh, we got a pupa in there. Larva, streamers. Nice. Yep, you're right. Larva. What about tiny, subtle sips just under the film? What's that one? Pupa. Man, you guys are good. And then clusters of tiny bugs, low light rises. Adult. Yep. Sweet. You guys are good. I'll be honest, that wasn't very hard. All right, so let's talk about when it comes to midges, when it comes to choosing our fly, when it comes to choosing our rigs.
Mm-hmm.
Strike zone. Run us through what the strike zone is, Spencer.
Strike zone's ephemeral. It can be everything and nothing all at once. Strike zone is where the magic happens. Strike zone, simply put, is wherever it wants to be. The strike zone's wherever the fish are eating at any given time. During the winter, right now, it's often going to be the bottom third of the water column because the fish don't have to work as hard to hang out down there at the bottom of the river. There's more friction down there, so the water's nice and slow and chilling. And they can just hang out down there. They can stuff their faces with food, kind of like me. With a few people who've noticed the wing stuff on me. Like, yeah, I'm freaking aware. I'm disgusting. Okay, you don't need to keep bringing it up. But the strike zone is going to be wherever the fish are actively feeding at that time. It's almost always going to be the bottom third of the water column, or it's going to be the top third of the water column if there's a hatch going on. They're very rarely going to sit mid column in the river and eat, because that's the fastest, not the fastest moving water, but that water is moving very quickly, and bugs don't really spend a lot of time there. They're going to be stuck a lot on the surface. They're very vulnerable, and then there's a lot of them down low. So, excuse me. So that's your strike zone.
Well said. So it can move, right? But if they're eating the larva, they're probably in that third part of the water column. If they're eating pupae and adults, they're probably in that top third of the water column, which kind of spoils this graph. Oh, just kidding. So we're going to talk about rigs as far as as far as the strike zone is concerned, because the way you're able to get in the strike zone, it's less about, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's rigs. Here's a good way to put it. Rigs are a tool for getting us in the correct part of the strike zone. So if we need to get in that third part of the water column, we're going to use specific rigs. If we're fishing the top third of the water column, we're going to use specific rigs. And I forgot I put this in here, but we have a rigs and knots pocket guide. It runs you through all the rigs that we use the most. We're talking dry dropper, double dry fly, single dry fly, streamer, double nymph rig, bounce rig. It has a whole bunch of stuff. You can scan the QR code here. I know it's hard to do it if you're on your phone, but we have the URL here. You can also just go to our website, venturesflyco.com, and there's a learn tab, and you can find all of these helpful pocket guides in there. But I just wanted to throw that in here because we're not going to talk about how to set up rigs. We're just going to talk about what rigs to use when. But that is a helpful guide that you can have out on the water.
I wrote it, so you're. No, it was a team effort. Okay, well let's breach through these rigs pretty quick.
Yeah,
because they're not super.
Yeah, we kind of covered this a little bit. But
let's
talk about if there's nothing really happening, we think there's a lot of larvae and pupa out there.
Yep.
Lower third of the water column. What rig are we going to use?
I'm going to use nymph rig at that point. I'm going to put 2 nymphs under a bobber, and I am going to get those down deep, get them, one fly right on the bottom, another fly 12 to 18 inches above that. Yep. I'm going to get them down deep.
All right, let's ask you guys, if there's a lot of pupae or adults out, you want to fish the lower third, upper third of the water column, what rig are you going to use?
Kevin's probably going to say streamers.
Jack, dry dropper, because I will always pray for a dry fly eat. Amen.
Love it.
Double nymph, you could. Double dry dropper. Yeah. So for that, the dry dropper would be most effective because you can fish the adult on the top third of the water column, and then you can use your nymph for that bottom third of the water column. And then adult and pupa, we're going to use our double dry fly rig.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually Spencer has taught me how to fish this. Like I used to fish it quite a bit, but Spencer is the one who has really taught me how to use this rig
I do what I can
most effectively. So you want to
it's real simple. You put 2 dry flies on, just tie them right next to each other. So you loop the tippet through both eyes of the hooks. But one, no, I'm kidding. Don't do that. That's going to mess it up. It's just you tie 1 dry fly on the end of your leader, and then I put about 18 inches a tippet, tie it on the bend of that hook, and then tie my next fly behind it. And I like about 18 inches because you don't want your flies line so close to each other that they can start dragging and pulling on each other and causing some unnatural presentation. So I like doing it that way. I also like having my first fly in that rig be a little bit bigger. So if I'm out and most of the midges coming off are a size 22, I will throw maybe a size 20 parachute midge up front, and then I will stick 18 inches of tippet on there, and then stick my WD-40, my demon midge, whatever it is that I'm fishing as my second fly in
This
that
is a
rig.
double dry fly though, not dry dropper.
No, you're right. Dude, parachute post on the demon midge.
I don't think that's a good idea.
The parachute demon. Would you guys buy that fly? Let me know right now. No, a little blood midge just chilling right below the surface, tied on a clink hammer hook. Dude, I am full of great ideas. I love that.
Yeah, we got a thumbs down from Ricky.
Boom, look at that. I just sold 4 3-packs. You're welcome. But I misspoke. Thank you for correcting me on that. But any of your other, midge emergers, anything that you want to throw on there, Griffith, gnats, whatever, you tie them in that smaller size, and that'll be behind your double dry. That'll be behind that larger dry fly. It's a pretty simple rig. And don't we have a video on that somewhere kicking around on the double dry fly?
Yeah, we have it in that pocket rigs guide.
Wonderful.
There's a video linked to every single one of the rigs. So
We're at the point now where I forget what we've done a video on and what we're redoing a video on. Where we go back and look at this stuff from 3 years ago. We're like, oh crap, we got to redo that. Look how fat I was.
all right. Where's
did our tech just freeze again?
Oh my gosh.
No.
Don't worry, guys. We bought a clicker off of Amazon while we were getting ready for this because we're currently using a mouse and it is struggling. So, all right. So we know what rigs we need. Now we need to figure out the flies. And this is probably everyone's favorite part.
Yep.
We love talking flies. We're fly anglers. We love.
Dude, I was in a fly shop the other day.
Yeah.
Because that's not because I don't have any loyalty to VFC. Somebody actually made a comment about this the other day. They said, I saw someone talking about, I can't remember where it was. They said, do you think Durant ties his own flies? What, am I not good enough to tie my own flies? Of course I tie my own flies. But someone said, nah, he gets them all from VFC. First off, I wish. Okay, we sell them all to you guys. Every time I come here and I want to raid the stash, I get Aiden over there. Dude, he's scary. It's like, no flies for you. So I don't get any of the extras. But anyways, I was in a fly shop.
It's honestly true.
Dude, because I was out. I was out. I hadn't had time to tie. I was up every creek without any kind of paddle, and I needed some flies 2 days ago. Whenever. No, it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Good criminy. Anyways, they had so many midges. I was so happy. I may have spent a little too much money, but they had this thing where if I bought a certain amount of flies, I got 6 free. So,
all right, not bad.
I probably paid more for it than I should have. But a point of that little ramble there is, I understand how many midge patterns are out there. It can be very frustrating because, even for a feller like me who, I've been doing this for a minute, there are some midge patterns in there I'd never heard of before. Some interesting stuff. I got some really good ideas for new midges that I'm going to tie at home. So it can be very frustrating, especially if you walk into a fly shop.
And that's something that we try to combat here at VFC is the overwhelm, because it's true. You go to a big box store, you go to a fly shop, and there are rows and 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 rows of flies.
But are there bins of flies too?
There are also bins and rows of bins and rows of flies.
Okay. I'm glad we got that cleared up.
And so let's just run through some of our favorites, some of those that we sell here at VFC, and the reason why they're our favorites.
And honestly, I've been thinking about this a lot too. We worry about pattern a whole ton, and I think for good reason, but at the same time, is one of these going to be more perfect than the other?
I mean, we had this, we filmed a podcast this morning all about presentation versus fly pattern. And I think we're both in the same boat.
I mean, there might be, there's, I mean, last April we were fishing, we did the spring How We Fish video.
Yeah.
Those fish ate the snot out of those chocolate thunder midge emergers. You remember those?
Yeah.
They really didn't look at the rest of the midge emergers we had, did they? So I do think, hey, those were the smallest ones.
They
that we
were
had,
the
though.
smallest ones we had. So I would argue that it was probably size.
Yeah, I don't
more
think it
than
was the
anything.
actual pattern. Right?
Yeah.
I think anything, because those were 24s, and we didn't have. I don't think we had anything under 20 other than those flies.
No, we didn't.
So you get into stuff like that, and I really do think you just end up match the size, match the shape. The actual pattern that you're using doesn't really matter. So that's one of the reasons why we just simplify the fly selection down, because vast majority of fishing, this is the stuff that's going to take care of you. And it's always fun to get the new stuff. It's always fun to play with the new stuff, but I mean, you don't need it. You really can't keep it simple and straightforward.
There are very few times when I would attribute the success of the day to like one fly pattern.
Except the egg bomber. That thing catches fish from November to like now. That thing is money.
It's true.
But anyways,
we're talking midges.
Fly patterns.
So let's get into these fly patterns. First, we're going to cover the flies that we would use to imitate larvae, and that should say pupae. That's my bad.
That's I'm embarrassed for you.
That is.
See what I'm talking about, though? If we put a parachute post on one of those bad boys, tell me you wouldn't fish the crap out of that.
A little fuzzy white thing on top
Dude,
of it.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Do we got some clean camera hooks in here? Devin, I need some clean camera. Devin's got me.
We actually do have some.
Look at that.
All right. So first off, we have the demon midge.
For obvious reasons.
Talk about the demon midge, Spencer. You're pretty new to the demon midge.
I'm as new to the demon midge as you are.
I came up with the demon midge.
Yeah, and then you gave it to me. You might know the demon midge for 10 minutes more than I have.
Yeah. I didn't come up with the demon midge. That is a total lie. There's a bunch of flies out there that look just like the demon midge, and Berkeley and I mean, Berkeley probably has more credit to demon midge than I do.
Hey,
So
do you see Berkeley here?
Yeah, we'll take credit for it.
Yeah.
He's probably not even going to watch.
No, I guarantee he's not. He's lifting weights and drinking creatine or something. Whatever it is he does.
It's probably true.
So demon midge, it's just a great little midge larva, midge pupa pattern.
I've caught my biggest rainbow.
Yeah, but we mentioned
the
at the
demon
beginning
midge,
of the show.
So, any idea when demon midge will be back in stock? We have an announcement when we're done talking about the rest of these flies. It's going to be exciting. Next is the classic zebra midge. So, I mean, if there was one fly that I had to fish the rest of my life, it might be the demon midge, or it might be the zebra midge.
Parachute Adams for me.
Really? Well, it's dry fly, yeah. I mean, if we had to pick between a nymph and a dry fly, you're right. We'd go parachute Adams.
Dude, I would be hard pressed to not pick a Prince nymph, though, I'll tell you. After how well the Prince did for us last year.
We're focused on midges.
I know, but you asked the question.
So the zebra midge, it's just the GOAT. Like, it's such a classic. It works everywhere. Works 365 days a year.
And it's so
24/7,
easy.
Twice on
Alex can tie
Sunday.
it.
Yeah, it's so easy. I can tie it. We got the WD-40. Spencer talked about this.
Yeah, freaking love those
Just
things.
Sneaky good.
You saw my post in school, I hope, folks, about the WD-40s I tied. Lost 2 big fish on them. So that was fun.
Sad.
I know.
Rainbow Warrior. Great.
It's the flashy version of the WD-40, basically.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, that's the same fly. It's just, it's letting you know that I'm here. All right. Hello. That's what the Rainbow Warrior is doing.
Exactly. And the RS2. So Colorado is known for small flies. It's known for midges. And that's where the RS2 was made famous.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, those are if you had to stock
and
up
even though the RS2 has tails on it, it'd be a mayfly or a midge.
Yeah.
Okay, it can be both.
Yeah.
I know it has tails on it. We talked about that, but it can be both.
Yeah. And what's cool about the RS2 is you could throw it on a double dry fly rig as like the smaller dry fly, and it'll sink a little bit. Or, pro tip here, put it on a nymph rig. That thing cleans up.
Does.
A little bounce rig. You do split shot on the bottom, little tag coming off, put a heavier nymph on that one, and then you do the RS2 coming off the top tag.
It's a little swingy. It's a little fun.
Good night. And then let's talk about dry flies. So adults. Numero uno.
All right, I'll take over here. This is my purview. Let's go. First one, please, Devin. Griffith gnat. This is the midge pattern for people who don't know how to fish midges. You just throw it out there because you're just spraying and praying.
That's me.
No.
Let's be honest.
Griffith gnat's a great one because it can look like a cluster of them. And a lot of times, even 2 or 3 little ones will make kind of a little cluster like that. Kind of an attractor pattern where that peacock curl that you use for the body just shines and looks buggy. Has a lot of the same characteristics that a bug's body does. So the fish gravitate towards that. Just a really solid little fly. I tie them. I tie them all the way down to 24s, 26s. I'll fish them that small. They're just a great little fly.
Got a good question here from Brian. He said, how do you get the demon midge to the lower third of the water column effectively? I'll just pair it with a heavier fly. So I'll use something like a CDC pheasant tail or Prince nymph, egg bomber. Egg bomber is great. You just use that as the.
What do you got against the blowtorch?
Blowtorch is great. Yeah,
you didn't even acknowledge it.
I'm just trying to move us along. You know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So any of those heavy flies with like a big tungsten bead, I always mess this up. Point fly.
I can't freaking remember. It just goes on the bottom.
You have the tag and then you have the what is this, the point fly? Help me out, people.
See, it's so funny because people commit this crap to memory. And then if you're like me and Alex, you just learned it and you never knew difference between point fly or whatever. You just did it.
Yeah.
You just
point is first. Like you're talking bottom is the point.
I'm pretty sure it's the bottom. Yeah. Especially in a bounce rig. It's going to be the bottom.
Yeah. Anyways, that bottom fly is the really heavy one. And then you put the demon midge coming off.
Yep.
It's like higher in the water column. You could also do the opposite where it's like, say the egg bomber with the demon midge in tandem and the demon or the egg bomber is going to bring the whole rig down and then your demon midge will flutter. So
you could.
You just need something with some weight to pair it with. Anyways, back to it.
Next fly. We got a little Matt's midge. Now this is for them trout that are sipping single midge adults. Okay, you see the midges on the water. They're not in clusters. The fish are just taking one by one. They're taking their time. They're enjoying their meal, kind of like I do. Kind of like I did, as the stain on my shirt shows. So that's what the Matt's midge is for. All right, our next one, Parachute Adams. Yes, I know it has a tail, but it pulls double duty, especially 20 and lower in sizes.
Yeah, I was gonna say size is the most important.
Yep.
And I would argue the Parachute Adams isn't even the right shape because it has the tail, I mean
midges have a super slight taper, but
if we're talking what does the Parachute Adams imitate the most, it's going to be a mayfly. So
Parachute Adams is another one of them flies. It's a shapeshifter, man. Just does what it is, what it needs to be in the moment.
I totally agree.
It is the fish pleaser.
But
it's the toxic fish pleaser. You know that toxic people pleaser in your life that just can't say no to anything. And that's how they end up driving their uncle's nephew's third ex-wife's brother-in-law Shih Tzu to the airport. Okay. Well, now, why is a Shih Tzu flying? We have no idea, but they are. Okay.
We need to stop this immediately.
We do. They shouldn't be. I mean, they're the worst dogs in the world. I'm kidding. All right. Our next one, the no-see-em. This it works really well for super picky fish and when they're not coming up completely when they're eating the emergers because it just hangs so low in the water. It's a really good little fly.
The way my midge fishing usually goes when I'm fishing dry flies, I start with a Griffith gnat. Uh-huh. If that's not working, I'm like, they're eating single midges. I'll go to a Matt's midge. And then if the Matt's midge isn't working, I'm like, these fish suck. And then I'll go to no-see-em, and that usually gets the job done.
Usually does.
Yeah.
Then our last one, the mother shucker. Great little midge emerger. And no, sadly, I did not come up with this fly, even though it sounds like I should have. It's just a great little emerger. Got that foam to imitate the trailing shuck. I tie these in a lot of different sizes, usually about an 18 or 20, though, is where I fish most of them. And that wraps up the list of the flies that you need to know. So,
special announcement.
Announcement time.
So we do
del uno announcemento.
Muy bien. We do have a new batch of 3-packs that is done, and it will be released soon.
That is extremely anticlimactic.
I know. When I actually prepped these slides, we thought they were going to be closer to being done. I'm kind of sad, but the flies have all been tied. Now we just have to package them all. And if you can imagine, we have these small little plastic containers with labels, and we have Aiden and the boys that are just slaving away, putting them in all the packs. So we were hoping for later this week, but we'll make a post in school as soon as they're packed and they're ready to go. You want to hit forward? Yeah, there we go. So for those watching the YouTube replay, here's a link that you can scan. But yeah, we should have a bunch of 3-packs, demon midges, zebra midges, Matt's midges. That was a lot of midges to say in a row.
Have all
Griffith, Gnat, egg bomber. Great question, Pete. So on our website, you have the buy button, right? Or the add to cart button below that right now, because the egg bombers are out of stock. There's a notify me when available. We were looking at that the other day, and we don't have enough egg bombers tied up for the amount of people that signed up to be notified. So there will be egg bombers, but they're going to go quick. So that's just me saying, if you want the egg bombers, if you want the demon midges, if you want Frenchies, what else are the top ones? Parachute Adams.
Yep. And I don't have any egg bombers in my box. I don't want to hear anybody getting all uppity with me. The last egg bomber I had, I lost yesterday to a rainbow trout that was north of 25 inches.
But one of the perks of being in the school group is we will let you know first before we even throw it out, before we send out an email, before we talk about it on YouTube, anything like that. We'll make a post in school and you'll get first dibs. So that's one of the perks of being in school.
So just spend your whole day in school.
Yeah. And then the next batch is already being tied. So we got one in packaging and then we got the next batch being tied. So hopefully we have enough for you guys. You guys have been awesome. Now, little recap. You understand what midges are now. You know how to identify the stage. You know their life cycle. You know how to rig them up. And you know what flies to use.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the theory.
Nice. Just got to go out and do it.
Yeah. Let's make it practical. So what questions do you have about fishing midges? Struggles, fears, specific situations? We've got about 10-ish minutes. We can dive into some questions. What you got? Vince Egg Bomber tie kit. I think we're doing that one in November.
It's so funny that everyone wants the egg bomber right now when we're basically out of egg season. So I know you want them immediately, and I'm not saying don't buy them. Please buy them because I need to pay my mortgage next month. But they will be in stock I shouldn't say that. You will most likely have a chance to get them before you need them again next fall. Yeah. So even though you want to get them stocked up on them right now, I mean, we're just about done with egg season.
Yeah, that's true. So. All right. Does your midge selection change dependent on water quality or clarity?
Water quality? No, because you're only going to find them in water that's, well, I shouldn't say only, but if you're fishing water, it's got trout in it, it's going to be good enough. So that really doesn't impact anything.
Yeah. If you're seeing midges buzzing around,
there's a pretty good life.
I mean, that's what we talk about is look on around in the water and then match whatever's hatching, right? So if you're seeing midges, then the water should be good enough for midges. As far as clarity goes,
no, I just fish when I'm going to fish.
I mean, the demon midge might be great for if the water's a little off color just because it's red and it shines, but
yeah,
no.
All right. What's our next one?
What factors into picking the fly above the zebra midge in a double nymph rig? Getting the rig down, right?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to pick I just go on whatever else I need. Do I need to get that fly down deep? Do I need to Am I fishing 4 feet of water with a lot of current? Am I fishing 2 feet of water with not as much current? That's going to tell me if I'm using the egg bomber, if I use a scud muffin, for example, which isn't as heavy as the egg bomber. So it just all depends on how deep you need to go and what else is in the water at that time, right? I probably wouldn't tie an egg bomber on right now. I'd probably tie a scud muffin on because scuds have been on the rivers I've been fishing with the weather we've had lately. The scuds have been the meal ticket because it's warm enough. They're out and about, and the fish are on the chew on those right now.
Scuds and sow bugs right now are
Scud muffins should be sold out, to be completely honest.
I think it is, right?
Is it? Y'all should be all over that one.
Yeah.
That's the wait list to get
Scud
on
muffin,
right
man. That one, pick some of those up if you don't have any. That fly is sneaky good, and it sinks fast. Fish love it. There was a good one right here. So I see midges that are moving on water slowly upstream that get eaten. How can we imitate that action? So if you're fishing midges, there's 2 ways you're primarily going to fish adult midges, and that's a dead drift. You'll just chuck it up there like a normal dry fly, try and get a nice natural drag-free drift. One thing I have done during midge hatches that's very effective is I'll take something like the RS2 and it's essentially swinging a wet fly. I'll chuck it down at like a 45-degree angle downstream of me, and I'll just hold my line tight and I'll let it swing with the current. And sometimes that cleans up, because if you look at midges when they're buzzing around on the water, they're kind of crazy. They're like moving around, and they'll even like skitter across the water. Not skitter, but like glide. Have you seen those? They like make a wake
especially
sometimes.
Since midges prefer slower water, they prefer siltier bottoms. You generally don't find midges in riffly water at all. They're going to be in the slower stuff. So there's a lot, they can move around on top of that water a lot easier.
And that's why the emerger pupa patterns are so effective, is you can fish that dead drift adult on top, and then that pupa, like they're just going to hit that a lot of times. So
another good question from Mark Ward. He said, what midge for what condition was so similar to others? I just want to reiterate this point and go back to it. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can fish your Rainbow Warrior, you can fish your WD-40, you can fish your RS2, you can fish your Zebra Midge, you can fish your Chocolate Thunder, you can fish your Demon Midge, you can fish any types of colors or whatever, and sometimes they really will get keyed in on color. On tailwaters, that's not uncommon. The river I fished yesterday, I was talking with the guys in the fly shop and just chatting, saying, hey, what have you guys caught fish on lately? What's been going on? What are you seeing? Are we seeing any bugs moving? Because I hadn't been on the river in a while. And they said, yeah, olive midges have been the ticket right now. Olive. So that's what I ended up tying on. And I caught a 23-inch brown trout out of that river on an olive midge. Not yesterday, but I caught one there before. So you will see color play a little bit of a role sometimes. Not all the times, but sometimes. But most of the time, vast majority of fishing, you're going to pick a pattern that's the right size and shape for what you've got. That's why at the end of the day, yes, having a bunch of different midge patterns in your box is great, because you want midge pupa, midge larva, midge emergers, midge adults. You want to represent all 4 stages of the life cycle. And you really want to be able to present different options to the fish. It's more important to have different sizes of those and not necessarily different colors and worrying about 8,000 different midge emerger patterns. Okay. It's really about having the right kind of size. And again, you might see fish get really picky in these on tailwaters. And that's when, the mother shucker, the no-see-em, things like that really might come into play and help you out. But we try to keep it simple, again, because you could overcomplicate it. You could have all of those midges in there, and there's nothing wrong with doing that, but you don't have to do it that way. Okay. So don't get that paralysis by analysis of worrying that you've picked the wrong midge. Just pick one and fish it well. And then if that doesn't work, change the size first. Don't worry about the pattern so much as getting that fly to look as real as you can.
So Pete had an interesting question, because we talked about fishing midges in slower water because the bottoms are siltier. He asked, so only fish midges in slower water? And we talk about this all the time. There are no rules in fly fishing. You will find midges in faster water. It's just sometimes.
Well, I'm gonna get you on that. I don't think I ever seen midge adults hatching in riffles.
I do. I've seen quite a few actually.
Really?
Yes. One of the best midge hatches I ever fished was I was fishing a faster section of the river and there was midges all over the sides of the rocks.
Was it a riffle or was it a run?
It was almost pocket water. Okay, it wasn't a riffle, like really shallow water. It was down from a riffle.
So I was right.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was
no, it's a good point. Yeah, but you're 100% right. We say there's no rules. Yesterday when I was on the water, all the midges I saw were in the slower stuff. I did not see any midges crawling up out of any of the faster water. And I was on a section river that had a lot of riffles, a lot of runs, and then a couple of pools. And the midges were all on the runs and the pools.
Yeah, Josh, I caught all my fish in faster water with zebras. That day that I was just telling you about, I was fishing a zebra midge, and it was like every cast I was catching a fish. And so it's more about just watch and wait. Are there midges hatching? Oh yeah, there's midges hatching here. It's not so much like, oh, the water is slow here, so I'm going to fish midges. It's more, do I see midges out and about? Okay, I'm going to fish midges.
And I will say you are going to see a predominance of midges though in that slower water. So I think that part. So you think about,
do you see them because it's moving slower?
Because generally the slower river,
or
the slower part of the river.
See them because they're so small and the water's moving so fast that you can't see them.
No, the slower part of the river is usually at the siltier bottom that they like.
That was the point you made earlier, and I'm just the point I want to make is, even though the water's faster, the bottom could still be silty, and there might be midges there. Like you don't know. So,
all right, what else we got? I think we got one or two more. Time for one or two more questions, right?
Yeah, let's go one more.
Okay,
one more really good question.
Pressure's on, folks.
Yep.
I expect nothing but your absolute best. I'm waiting for the snark that I know is coming my way. Grizzly or not. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you.
It was 1000% a grizzly bear.
It was not, Alex. It was a black bear.
You didn't even see it, man.
I saw enough of it to know that it was not possible to tell.
The mane, the hair, the fur was flowing. It was a grizzly bear. 100%.
You don't know that.
Yes, it was. Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Dude, I've seen so many videos of grizzly bears after we saw that, and it's 100%.
But you've never seen a grizzly bear in the wild. So how would you know what it looks like not in a video?
Why do I have to see it in the wild?
Because it's not the same.
Explain.
It's science. I don't need to explain. You just trust it blindly. That's what we were taught.
All right, so let's end off with that was a great question to end on. But let's end off with a few announcements before we break off. So
yeah, I got to go to my mother-in-law's house tonight.
So coming up, let's pull up the slides, Dev's drawer. Click, click, click. This isn't working. I can't wait for the clicker. So we have our Parachute Adams fly tying kit and tutorial that is dropping March 8th.
And I'm going to be teaching you guys how to tie the Parachute Adams.
Spencer thinks he can tie a perfect Parachute Adams 100%. First try with the macro lens on the camera.
I don't think I know.
I can't wait for this. I'll let you know how it goes in the school group.
I am 100% down. I am so stoked on it.
So that is dropping on the 8th on YouTube. So watch for that. And then we'll be having our monthly fly tying night on March 24th at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be tying up the Parachute Adams. We'll be hanging out. We'll be chatting.
Dude, that's like 4 days after we get home.
I know. I actually had it scheduled for when we were gone, and I had to change it really fast.
Yeah, we're going on a research trip. Yeah. Okay, keep your eyes peeled to school. You'll see some stuff.
Yep. And then last one, the next deep dive, we're going to talk all about rigs because.
Oh, are you guys ready for this?
Switch the camera.
Look at that. It's here, folks.
Fully waterproof, completely plastic. I dipped it in water. It was great. Yeah, so we have our VFC field guide. Some of them showed up. And so be there next deep dive. You can get your hands on one. Limited supply.
Yep, we're gonna give them
while supplies last.
We're gonna give them away to folks who are in the deep dive. And the next one is in March because the end of this month's kind of weird with the start of March, and then the first Tuesday, Alex and I are actually gonna be on a little fishing trip. Anyways, so and we're not gonna have cell service out there. Otherwise, I think we try to do it live from the river, but there's not. I mean, maybe we could get Starlink in there, but I don't know if you need to get Starlink in there.
I don't know.
It's a gnarly spot.
We should do that one time. Live, a deep dive from the riverbank.
Only if we're doing it around the campfire too. Campfire next to the river.
That would be cool.
I'm 100% down for that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Devin's bringing the s'mores. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're there.
Carlos wants to see the new fly flinger.
I don't think we can do.
Do we drop it yet?
No, we can't do that yet. Well, we're gonna keep that one.
We wanted to know when the field guides are going to be for sale. We're going to give some away in the next deep dive, right?
Yeah. So the next deep dive, I'll throw up a product page on Shopify or on our website, and that's where you can get them. So, yeah. Okay. So next deep dive, March 31st, we'll have them ready to rumble.
Awesome.
Yep. What about the new Vice? Still working on it. Fall.
We're looking good.
Yeah, fall. Tying tools should be next month. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff in the works. We got a lot of cool videos coming out on YouTube. Spencer just finished. He's really close finishing an edit on a really fun one. So yeah, keep your eyes posted. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being live and for being in the school group. You guys are awesome. We love hanging out with you. And got anything else?
No, I'm good. Appreciate it, folks. Live your life.
Live your life.
Yourselves. Make good choices.